WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Visit Bloomington, Indiana, where Hoagie Carmichael, Booker T. Jones, and John Mellencamp impacted the city and helped it become a music destination. Bloomington is home to a variety of musical artists, live music venues, and hundreds of annual music events. More information at musicbloomington.com.
WFYI podcasts brought to you by Gang Gang, Butter Fine Art Fair, returning to Indy, Labor Day weekend, August 28th through the 31st. The Equitable Fine Art Fair celebrates the work of established and emerging Black artists from Indiana and across the country. Tickets at butterartfair.com.
This is Small Studio Signal Boost from WFYI. I'm Melissa Davis, your host tonight, along with co-host Adam Gross. The Goshen-based post-rock band Jagalchi recently released their new record titled You Will Know True Loss. They stopped by our small studio in the middle of their summer tour to perform 2 songs from the album. We'll hear those new live recordings tonight, along with a conversation from the band. Plus, we'll hear new songs from Jennison, Zero Boys, Leisure Hour, and more. Stay with us for an hour of new music from Indiana-based artists here on Small Studio Signal Boost. First, let's get to our first song of the night. Adam, you found a bunch of good stuff this week. What do you have first?
I did. So Jennison, who we've played on the show before, we're big fans. You know her song Scared Rabbit? Well, she did a re-release of that. It's a dream hop remix by indie artist Defame.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a cool new take on the song. So let's hear that. It's Jennison with Scared Rabbit Defame Dream Hop Remix.
Scared rabbit, they've got you boxed in. Old habit, you draw the curtain. Lonely only if they ever leave. Do you feel free?
You're tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost. Melissa, up next, I have one from the Zero Boys, a new one.
Yeah, right. I saw on Instagram it said Zero Boys new track. I'm like, what is happening here?
Right. So apparently this is a song that was recorded in the 90s and was never released.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they're putting out a compilation album called Playback as Hell, and it's all songs recorded in the 90s. 2 have never been released before. This is one of them. You want to give it a listen?
Yeah, I'm excited. The Zero Boys, I mean, most people know, but the Zero Boys were a very influential punk band from the Midwest here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
A lot of the members of the Zero Boys are still here working, making music in Indianapolis and contributing to the scene, and it's cool to see them back with a new track. What?
I know, yeah. All right, let's hear it. It's Zero Boys with Make It.
No more lying underneath. No more coward corners waiting for death to come. No more giving ourselves away. If you want respect, then you got to.
That was Zero Boys with Make It. You're tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost. I'm Adam Gross, and we're listening to new music from Indiana-based artists. Since we just played a punk tune, I figure why not play some more punk tunes?
Yeah,
right?
let's do it.
Summertime is punk time.
I think so.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
For me, at least. You know, warm weather, energy.
Yeah. Okay. I got. I was
You're feeling it.
Yeah.
You weren't sold at first.
Punk for me can feel late fall. Maybe it's
Really?
Halloween, creepy stuff, fun stuff. I don't know, but yeah.
No, that makes sense.
I hear you though. I'm thinking summer, sweaty, shows outdoors, it's hot. Yeah.
I think
moshing.
Yeah, I was a Warped Tour kid, so I think maybe that's why punk and summer go hand in hand, but the Halloween thing makes total sense. Listen, you can listen to punk all year round.
It's for every season.
It's for every season. Well, let's listen to 2 from a Muncie-based punk band, Leisure Hour. This band is doing super well. They're hitting the road next week for a month-long tour. They'll be playing in Indy at Healer on September 24th. Let's listen to 2 of their new tracks. Up first is Ode to Muncie, followed by, well, maybe one appropriate for late fall, Haunted.
Cool.
We're changing, and the city where we grew up feels complacent. But my mom keeps telling me it's in my head, and I don't care what she said. I'll let
You're tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost. You can find some of the music featured tonight by following our playlists. Just search for WFYI Music on Spotify. Coming up, we'll hear a live performance from Goshen-based post-rock band Jagalchi. But first, let's listen to a conversation with the band from co-host Adam Cross.
Jagalchi, thanks for joining me today. You guys are on tour right now. You just put out a new album. Tell me about the album. What's it called? What went into making it?
The album is titled You Will Know True Loss, and I would say a lot of things went into making it. We actually added a sixth person for this album, and we decided to make it just that much more complicated on ourselves.
Sure. This is your second record?
This is our second record.
Yeah.
Our first featured a lot of spoken word parts that were read by a friend of mine and written by her, and wanted to expand on that element of the band a lot. And so I originally asked Jason here to write a whole series of pieces based on titles that I came up with. So I sent those over. He wrote, his own prose based around that. And then we had various people, including Jason himself, read the writing. And so it was this fun little cyclical thing where it wound up back in my hands eventually, and I just asked that people were okay if I do whatever I want with it, whatever manipulation or layout. And Jason also ended up joining the band as our baritone guitar player, and also melodica and soon-to-be other auxiliary instruments. He really became, I think, a key figure in making this album. And
very happy to be here. Thank you.
Jason and I are brothers, and have been playing guitar together in bands for like 20 years. So to add someone to the band who knows how to play with a lot of the interesting songwriting we come up with, he was an easy fit. But also, Jason didn't know he was going to be on the record entirely until about a week and a half before. And Russ and I were talking, and Jason had played on a song or two with us, and he was just going to come up and just record those couple parts. And then basically Russ is like, I think Jason should do the entire record. I was like, well, does Jason know that? He's like, no. He's like, well, let me run it by him. I'm like, hey, what do you think about recording on all of the songs, especially some of the ultra complicated ones, like towards the end of the record and stuff? And I was like, well, he got a week. And then he basically figured it out. But 20 years of touring and playing guitar with each other and stuff like that, he's very good at picking out the spots to fit, especially at this point. You've got bass, two guitars, and baritones with a four-guitar band on a lot of the songs and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So there were some boots in there?
You got a third Canadian in the band. So
Okay.
Jay and I are both from Toronto originally and stuff like that. So.
Okay. And the band is based out of Goshen?
The home base is Goshen, and then basically Jason lives in Cleveland. I live in West Michigan. Tyrus lives in Chicago. Nick, Scott, and Russ are all Goshen, Elkhart, kind of like more. That's our Indiana hub where we practice and kind of call home. So
Gotcha.
But a lot of commuting.
Yeah, it is a lot of commuting. I mean, so talk about that. Like, you're on tour right now. You released a record. It's great. Your last record was great. But you are a, small indie band being spread all out. That's a lot of dedication. You're not getting paid for that.
It's a lot of fun playing with these guys. A little of the background of the band that kind of makes it even more fun is Jason and I taught English in South Korea in 2009, 2010. And there we met Scott. So we used to hang out. And
You guys met in South Korea?
all three of us, we met Scott in South Korea.
That's the reason it's called Jagalchi. We used to hang out at this fish market called Jagalchi, like close to our house. And that when we put the band together, we were like, okay, we have to call it this.
Yeah. So it was just Scott and I at first, but then as Jason joined us, like, we just keep recruiting people who all have this hilarious Korea teaching English experience and stuff like that. So getting together in the band, like commuting is a lot, but it's like, well, it's another excuse to get to see my brother. And then like for him, it's like, well, I get to see my brother and I get to see my old friends. And, even Russ has toured in other bands with Jason and I before for years. So it's like, it's not like it's that many new people. It's like people we've been on the road together and stuff like that. So it's a lot of like old friends, old connections kind of coming together too, which is a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So you three taught English in Korea. Nick, you're a teacher.
Yeah, I teach psychology and sociology at a high school in South Bend.
Are there any, is the whole band teachers? Are you guys teachers?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher?
I'm a brewer. I make beer.
Oh, okay, great.
he has taught before.
I taught in Korea, but
Yeah.
I've never really taught anything personally. I don't know about you, Tyrus.
To forgive you.
I was on an education track for a moment in school. But
Wow. And now you're just teaching us about the glories of emotive post-rock.
that's it.
That's right.
What is it about post-rock that drew you to making a post-rock band? I mean, there's not a ton of post-rock going on in Indiana. As far as I know, there's a handful. But I feel like you're filling a pretty unique space.
It's a kind of a natural progression. I've been playing with Jason in kind of like post-rock, underground, hardcore, post-metal type bands forever. So we've always been very heavily, in all of our music, focused on the instrumental element of it and stuff like that. The way I just kind of play guitar, and I'll initiate a lot of the songs and bring it to the guys. And I think everyone just likes that genre of music a lot. And just Jagalchi is very strange because it is post-rock, but then there's so many different elements that are not post-rock in it too. And it's kind of this weird mix that just kind of works. And especially because this is the first band I've been in that's I've played like, you have a 45-minute set, hour set. Like Jagalchi will play like a 2-hour plus set.
Wow.
And it's really nice having those post-rock elements to lean back on, especially when you kind of start leaning more into like ambient and like pedals and effects and things as you saw, our pedal boards and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have a lot of pedals collectively.
And it's something, if we're playing like a short set, like you get us like 30 minutes, you get like elements of that. But if you actually see us play like, a 2-hour set or something like that, the post-rock really comes in and there's a lot of like interesting, crescendo-based music and stuff like that and builds. And we really dig into, while it is ridiculous, the pedals we have, we do really use them and kind of use them in different elements to kind of, a lot of our sets, we only play a 2-hour set and only talk once. And it's just kind of, everything is very seamless and coordinated, and just that music's very fulfilling. And I don't know, I think most of us have been doing it a long time or been fans for a long time. I think I can speak for Jason and I both, that like we've been doing it so long, but it's awesome bringing in people who have so many different elements of other types of bands they've been in. I think that's kind of what made the mix of Jagalchi, of just like, it's not 6 post-rock guys. It's like 6 guys who like post-rock, but then you have Americana and you have jazz and you have this, and there's all these different things that have kind of like, when I honestly started the band, I remember when Tyrus joined, I was almost trying to get him to play more like a traditional post-rock drummer, and kind of realizing like, oh, he's got this crazy jazz background and stuff I'm not used to. And just kind of took me a minute to be like, let him do his thing. And then like, it's led to this super interesting element in the band of like, yeah, it's post-rock, but you've got someone who's just going wild on timing and all these different things that are just like, I think, unique to the genre and stuff. So it's kind of been a lot of fun letting everyone just like lean into whatever their backgrounds and preferences are too. So
I think it's also even if people don't know the genre, it's a very approachable genre. So like it can kind of exist outside of only a concert venue. Like I went to Scott's wedding, what was it, 2013, 2014, and there was a post-rock band playing at this super cool indie wedding, and kind of blew my mind. And even if you don't know you like it, it's instrumental. Again, it's very cinematic. It's very emotional. So like, my first show with them was a brewery, and people are there, enjoying food and beer, and we're playing this kind of pretty experimental stuff. And even if you don't know what it is, it's still digestible and kind of interesting.
We're always surprised at how many different people across, all sorts of spectrums appreciate this music. And I think for some folks who may come from like more of a hardcore DIY background, it's surprising, even just playing in a band where you don't yell.
Yeah.
How many more people seem to enjoy it pretty quick.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like going back to the very beginning too, it was just like one of those things where it was just me and Andrew, like COVID times in a big room, like facing each other. And he was kind of just like, can we make this horn thing work with it? And that's kind of where it started. And that was like the fun part of being like, oh, we have no idea if this is going to work. And then everything came together in like the best way possible.
Melissa, that sounds like a great spot to break to hear some of their performance. Let's hear Jagalchi with their song Twisting Strands performed live in our small studio earlier this summer.
Lives born, exalted, and withered in tide pools before they are collapsed in the moon-wrought surf.
Time does not march. Lily rides the swan that's gone. From all forever, time does not march. Lily rides the swans. It's gone. From all forever.
That was Jagalchi with the track Twisting Strands, performed live in our small studio. Coming up, we'll continue our conversation with the band and hear more of their in-studio performance. We'll be right back with that after this break on Small Studio Signal Boost.
WFYI Podcasts, brought to you by Gang Gang, Butter Fine Art Fair, returning to Indy, Labor Day weekend, August 28th through the 31st. The Equitable Fine Art Fair celebrates the work of established and emerging Black artists from Indiana and across the country. Tickets at butterartfair.com.
This is Small Studio Signal Boost. Thanks for listening tonight. You can find the podcast edition of the show most places you get your podcasts or at our website, wfyi.org/podcasts. I'm Melissa Davis, joined by Adam Gross. Let's get back to Adam's conversation with the Goshen-based post-rock band Jagalchi.
The two songs you played today. You want to give me a little bit of just backstory on those? What are they called? Like, how'd those come about?
So the first song we played is called Twisting Strands, and then the second song we played is called All the Patience of a Frozen Lake. And this is where I think the post-rock background does really come into play, especially with some of those longer titles where if we have mostly instrumental music, you're leaning on sometimes just a title to give you anything narrative to latch onto. So
Right.
those long post-rock titles that are very evocative, I'm a big fan of, and I get to flex that a little bit.
Sure, yeah. How does writing go? I mean, there's a lot of you. You don't all live in the same place. Like, is it spontaneous? What happens in the room? Does one of you come up with a nugget? Does one of you write a big, like, the 7-minute whole thing out? Like,
It
how
all
does that
originates
go?
with Andrew here on the
I
guitar.
spent a lot of time tinkering and writing, and like it's everything from riffs I've worked on forever to you're in the shower and just the melody comes to the head and I'm running half naked out of the shower to just play it on guitar, just get it down type thing. So it's interesting, and like those two songs couldn't be more different because one, Twisting Strands is very much like we're trying to squeal guitars that have chuggy parts and it's still playing like almost like reggae-ish to start it.
Right,
and it's like
right.
it leads into a lot of different genres of things we like. But then the second song, All the Patience of a Frozen Lake.
Nailed it.
Got it? All right, perfect. That's one riff. That's one riff that started like I wrote it and I was like, showing to Scott. I'm like, hey, this is a cool part. Do you want to start the song? So it's like Scott has it. I come in and we're all kind of playing the same thing. And everyone has lead parts and stuff, but the actual melody of the song carries through. And that's like the beauty of post-rock. It's like, well, this thing, you can just build it up in this big epic thing and bring it down. And so some songs start like that, where it's like I have one thing and we'll jam off it and stuff like that. And then a lot of songs like the first, second, and fifth song on that record are all pretty mathy and have a lot of riffs and stuff like that. And those songs come just from like a lot of me trying to just make myself laugh with guitar riffs. And then they turn into songs and I show up and I have basically zero musical theory and knowledge. Scott's a music teacher. Tyrus has a pretty extensive background, and all the guys are much more versed. So it kind of works out great that the ignorant person shows up and kind of like spews riffs on them. And then they kind of be like, okay, well, it's in this key and it's this time singing this, and they kind of break things down. And I just kind of stand there. I'm like, all right, tell me when I can squeal my guitar. And so there's stuff like that where it's an interesting thing, but I actually think it works well with our group. But, some songs are jams that, it might start as a transition we're playing live and evolves into an actual song. And some stuff is just, we've worked on for a long time. And this record we've been playing for a couple years now. And the whole idea was like, we really wanted to like fine tune it before we recorded because it is complicated and, just made it to when we actually got to record, there was no question, just go in and we're ready to go type stuff. So
Yeah. You're spread all over. Some of you live in northern Indiana. Scott, I know we spoke just recently about Float Fest, which you coordinate. Can you talk just briefly, anyone who lives up there, about the music scene, people to look out for, people to check out for people that aren't familiar with the northern Indiana scene?
I just say I think we have some brothers in a band called Spaceships. They do something kind of similar to us. Also a band that hasn't been as active recently called Analecta that also does kind of post-rock. But one of the cool things about our music scene is that it's very diverse. And then it really celebrates itself and each other and lifts each other up a lot. So like we'll play with Spanish-speaking rock band, and we'll play with everything. What else we play with? Like just
singer-songwriters, rappers. Like literally at this band, I've played the most diverse shows I ever have, and it's ridiculous too. Like every year, lately we've our friend Steve throws something called Fringe Fest based out of South Bend area or whatever, and it's a blast. And like the first year we did it, it was literally like pole dancing and burlesque dancing and dark comedy, and then we played a Christian fest the next day, and it's just kind of like, and it's literally like every show, and even like doing this tour, like every show is so different. We're like, especially coming from like punk and hardcore and stuff like that, a lot of times like, well, you're gonna play with 4 bands like that tonight,
right?
It's very much like anything goes. So it's a lot of fun. But Goshen is an amazing scene. Northwest Indiana in general is very supportive, and like the bands Scott mentioned are awesome, but there's so many artists and bands, and that like, especially these guys do a lot of like booking and promotion stuff in the area to promote up the area. So I think they probably see more of just like how many cool bands come through and are from there. And it's a really great music community to be a part of. So
yeah. If people want to hear more or follow you online to see new stuff going on, where can people get more?
Our stuff is all over all the streaming platforms, and our Instagram is probably honestly the best place to
There's also
catch up on us.
additional content about very positive reviews about things we find on the road that I try on the road. So if anyone wants to know about ketchup chips, it's coming today.
Oh,
Can't wait.
Canada ho. Well, thanks again and good luck out there.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's hear another track from Jagalchi now. This is All the Patience of a Frozen Lake, performed live in our small studio earlier this summer.
They paced the frigid banks in concentric loops, narrowing in as the wind set itself furtively in frozen opposition. They entered at a break in the reeds, sentinels dead and brown, broken-topped, and stepped a questing foot forward onto the flat sheet. Tiny drifts whipped across the ice, forming millimeter banks that crumbled and assembled with a mirthless and mathless grace. Folly and will reckoning. They did not test the footfalls, and the floor was thick and concrete gray, pocked with captured pockets of air, exuded by whatever hibernating reptile lay hard cold in the buried clay. Ice hung fast and hoary along their eyes, and frost burned their bleary visage. They waited expectantly, awaiting the crackle underneath the gale's hiss, or the
That was Goshen-based Jagalchi performing live in our small studio. If you like what you heard and want to watch the band, you can head over to the socials to see a clip of this song or head over to our YouTube page in the coming days for the entire live performance. You're tuned to Small Studio Signal Boost from WFYI. I'm Melissa Davis here with co-host Adam Gross. So what's happening in the world of live music?
There's a couple shows I want to shout out. Up first, Tuesday the 26th, so coming up soon, Gumi, an Indianapolis band who I love, and Gwendolyn Dot, who used to live in Indiana and I think now lives in Detroit, are playing at State Street Pub. Again, that's Tuesday the 26th. I'll be at State Street Pub on the 30th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then at Healer, if you're looking for a heavier show this week, Inner Peace, Dana, Sick of Talk, and more are Saturday, August 30th. Again, that's at Healer.
Nice. McAllister Amphitheater at Garfield Park is part of the Indie Concerts Summer Concert Series. Wednesday, August 27th at 7 p.m., it's Pops, Indianapolis Municipal Band. And at Taggart Memorial Amphitheater at Riverside Park, Thursday, August 28th at 7:30. As part of the Monumental Concert Series, you can watch the Indianapolis Chamber Orchestra. Again, that's Thursday, August 28th at 7:30 p.m.
And then on the 29th, the Indianapolis Chamber Orchestra is playing at Holiday Park.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, we can always listen to the ICO here on WFYI.
That's right.
That's every Sunday night at 9, the Indianapolis Chamber Orchestra radio broadcast. That's the latest in Indiana music. Be sure to follow your favorite artist on social media for updates and info. This is Small Studio Signal Boost. Adam Gross and Roxana Caldwell created our show. This episode was produced by Adam Gross and me, Melissa Davis. You can check out the podcast edition of the show most places you get your podcasts or at WFYI.org. Thanks for listening tonight, and thanks for your continued support of public media. You can join in membership anytime at WFYI.org/give or at WBAA.org/give. And we are at our last song of the night. Adam, what do we have?
This is the Indianapolis-based Immediate Orchestra with Bow to You. Have a great night.
WFYI Podcasts, brought to you by Gang Gang, Butter Fine Art Fair, returning to Indy, Labor Day weekend, August 28th through the 31st. The Equitable Fine Art Fair celebrates the work of established and emerging Black artists from Indiana and across the country. Tickets at butterartfair.com.